So what would you two like to start with? You want to start with how you got involved with this?
Well, I'd like to start with your headline.
Okay.
Healthcare is a human right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We just heard when we got here that your local member of Congress,
Scott Perry.
Scott
Perry, spoke the other day and said that he agreed that healthcare is a human right.
Yes,
that's
we
a
did.
major.
Yeah.
That's a major thing for a member of Congress to say, and I think I applaud him for that. I think the next step is to understand that human rights are not something that are commodities.
Mm-hmm.
Human rights are not profit centers.
Right. Right.
Human rights are not something that Wall Street investors should be making money from, or that the insurance industry should be ripping people off with very poor insurance, overpriced insurance.
Right.
It's not something the pharmaceutical companies should be ripping us off with. Mm-hmm. That's not how human rights are treated.
Right.
And so I think if your congressman needs to now start to think about, okay, it's human right, what does it actually mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what it means is human rights are something people have the right to. We have a right to health care. And there are ways for the government to provide that. I mean, the government, when I say the government, I mean all of us together to provide that and to take care of each other that way. Mm-hmm. And so I think when you start to think about what a human right means, I think that just changes a whole different mentality, because everything that, unfortunately, the Affordable Care Act that President Obama pushed, and the two coming up on three now plans that the Republicans have pushed, mm-hmm. say it's human right, but treat it as a commodity. Mm-hmm. Right. Treat it as a profit center. And that's just inconsistent. It's either a commodity or a human right. And if you're going to say it's a human right, then it's not a market-based solution. It's a solution that's a public good, a public service, and that's what we're advocating for.
And I think what's interesting is that, people in the United States, and maybe it's because we're kind of an isolated continent. We have Canada and Mexico, but it's not like in Europe where you have so many countries close together. People here don't understand that we have human rights in the first place, mm-hmm. and what they are, and that our human rights are not being respected here. The conversations that we have here in the United States about people not being able to afford health care, people committing suicide when they have a serious illness because they don't want to bankrupt their family, mm-hmm. People dying unnecessarily. 80 people die every day in the United States because they don't have access to health care. Mm-hmm. People going bankrupt. If you talked about this in another country, and most other industrialized nations have health systems that treat health care as a human right, mm-hmm. people would just think that you're crazy. Like, what's wrong with you in the United States that mm-hmm. you don't get it? that we're all better off when we have our basic necessities met. So I think it's really important for people in the U.S. to even understand that we have rights, because we're so, I think, the commercial media and the whole market ideology has really taught us differently, mm-hmm. that it's all about rugged individualism, and you have to deserve your health care. You don't just get your health care.
Margaret mentioned 80 people a day die each year in the United mm-hmm. States. Mm-hmm. That's 30,000 people a year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
On top of 30,000 people dying each year from not having access to this human right, imagine that. Mm-hmm. 30,000 die from not having access to what people believe is a human right. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands go bankrupt. Mm-hmm.
And most of them have health insurance.
And 2/3 of those people have health insurance.
Yeah.
But health insurance is a charade. I mean, it's another mirage.
Right.
What do some of the healthcare people call it? It's an umbrella that melts in the rain.
When you need it, it's not there. Yeah.